can't say many players were expecting an absolutely massive update. There really wasn't anything that hinted towards that. A lot of this kind of stuff is catch up for Xbox One or PC, with some things sprinkled throughout that is brand new for PlayStation 4 on the lead off and such. But today with the update, we didn't get all that much, but we still ended up getting enough stuff to talk about. So of course, as always, we're going to break down what this update really changed and everything you're going to expect to see if it's your first time jumping on Black Ops 4 since 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today, when that playlist update went live and changed a brief little bit of content. So that said, let's jump right into it. The first thing you'll end up seeing when you jump on is that there is a new tile for MP in that main menu selection. You still have your Ancient Evil tile, you'll still have your Alcatraz Portal tile, you'll still have the League Play tile, but Infected is now the brand new featured playlist for MP. So breaking down Infected a little bit, first things first, it is actually a lot of fun. Might not be exactly how you anticipated it going into it. Takes a little bit of getting used to if you were comparing it to previous iterations. There's some slight differences, not all that much that is completely out there that changes it entirely from Infected that you know of. It's still the basic premise, but you end up having 6 preset classes. You can see those on screen. There's a couple of different ones like the Vapor, the Paladin, the Titan, all sorts of things intermixed with that. Some different secondaries, some different perks, and so on and so forth. So you're not gonna be able to jump in with your class setups that you're able to make like you could in Black Ops 3, but more so following the way of the traditional route that Infected has taken over the years, most recently being World War II and even at the beginning of Modern Warfare 3. So that's something to consider. There's about 6 different classes there that you can jump in and play around with. One thing that is absolutely awesome, and I was really hoping they'd do it, it kind of confirmed it as of last night with their tweet of things to look out for as well, but the Infected are actually skinned as John Doe skins from Blackout. So the zombies theme actually still sticks around this time. I absolutely love that small little touch, and it gives you a little indication as to where they are as a result, because you might notice some of the aesthetic music in the background loading into the game and wrapping up the game is some of the zombies music, but the zombies also make their grunting noises, so it gives a little bit of a heads up. If you don't necessarily see the player that's infected, you can still kind of decipher where they're at in relation to you. One thing that I didn't think initially was that it would affect your stats, because it seems like if you open up your menu that it didn't showcase any deaths or anything initially, so I kind of figured, wow, kind of interesting that you end up having no deaths counting towards your combat record, but then I ended up checking around, seeing the specific number of deaths that I had before and after a few games, and they didn't match up, so it does still track on the back end, just it might be a visual glitch whenever you jump in and play Infected, that it doesn't showcase those stats accurately. Would have been cool, but I also understand where they have to track it, because it would have been literally an official way to boost your stats. But that said, when you do end up dying, or if you are the first infected and you infect someone else, the timer for the match actually resets back to 3 minutes with every infected. So it's not like how we saw with World War II and a couple of different variations of Infected, where every infection added like 20 seconds onto the timer or anything like that. It brings it up to the full match time of 3 minutes every single time. So definitely gives you a lot of time to work with, but most games you'll still probably only end up having last 2 to 4, maybe 5 minutes at max. There are no tac inserts, so it seems like you progressively move further towards the bulk on spawns as time progresses and as more and more players are infected, but there are definitely times where you'll spawn at the complete other end of the map, and it does get kind of annoying. Happened to me quite a few times as the first infected on Morocco for a few lives, but then as people started to progressively get infected, we started to make our way closer to where everybody was. And finally, one quick little note is that if you think you're safe in the water, I'm going to tell you you're not, because the interesting part is that Infected can actually breathe underwater forever. I guess you can't really kill what's already dead, so interesting little touch there with that. We'll see if that gets adjusted in time, but quick little note for you guys on there. As for other playlist changes, we ended up seeing that Mercenary Deathmatch Mosh Pit returns. That's TDM and kill confirmed. So for you solo players out there, it's definitely nice to see, though honestly, I do see from prior experience that a lot of the real tough lobbies can be in Mercenary Deathmatch. A lot of players that don't necessarily want to go up against parties, they just want to smack on their own, they end up going into these lobbies, and so it's kind of the battle of the people that want to run each lobby. So can get irritating at points, but that's back. Endurance Chaos Mosh Pit is back as well. That's kill confirmed. TDM, Domination, and Hardpoint, all with doubled score limits. So if you want games that last up to, say, 20 minutes, this is your playlist for sure. There's going to be a lot of parties here from, again, prior knowledge on that, but I will say it's tremendously good for ranking up your contraband stream as well as your tier progression for each case and such. Since each tier and each reserve case warranted is 60 minutes of in-game time, assuming that you don't have any tier boost from special orders, it's about 3 matches of endurance that can lead to a full tier or full cycle of your timed reserve case. So not bad to take advantage of that while it is back for a limited time. Arms Race TDM is also returned, in which that's TDM just with an increased score per kill, or EKIA. It's definitely insane. If you run Crashed, you can also get things like your attack chopper, your strike team and such with right around just a Bloodthirsty, if I'm not mistaken, from prior memories. Use that assault pack and extra score on top of the boosted score already, and it's nuts how fast you get things, truly. But ton of fun if you guys want to jump in and play a little bit of that. The final playlist that was updated here today is Bare Bones is actually still around. The Bare Bones mosh pit is still a thing, but it seems like hardcore Bare Bones is unfortunately not in here, but TDM and Domination, playing it without specialists, without operator mods and so on in Bare Bones, is available for this week once again. Just carrying over from the past couple of weeks, but with a different main featured playlist. As for shop changes, we ended up seeing that there were two things added in, that being the America Jump Pack, in which you end up getting a parachute, a trail, as well as a wingsuit in Blackout that you can end up using. That's for 500 COD points at that point. And then we end up seeing what is now finally the verdict of where those game files for the SOG 9mm and also the MX9 Patriot were going here at this, but the SOG 9mm Great Lion bundle is in the shop right now for 1,000 COD points. You end up having the Mastercraft mixed in with what is a collection set of calling cards as well. A lot of filler content in there for 10 bucks, but it's back, it's come back in some capacity. So again, being that we saw the MX9 Patriot also in the game files, I can only imagine this is going to come as of next week or the week after that as well. But interestingly enough, there actually was one other thing that was in there for a very brief period of time, but was then removed from Blackjack's shop entirely. We actually saw the ICR First Strike bundle was in the game for a few minutes. Thanks to my good friend OG X-Rays, he actually got some footage of it, which you'll see on screen right now. Go check him out, his link's in the description below, go show him some love. But for this bundle, it ended up coming with the Mastercraft, the signature weapon, as well as the reactive camo for the ICR, plus 10 reserve crates. So not just cases where you only got one item, but 10 where you got the 3 items as compared to what you'd end up buying in Blackjack's shop. Now, first things first, I know, yes, it's a bummer these aren't going to be organically unlocked like they could be beforehand, but it is something that compared to other bundles, honestly, I was expecting a much worse price. If you take a look at it and compare where each individual thing stands up at, you get pretty much 50% off of those 10 crates as to buying them outright. Plus, you also end up getting for that $10 a signature, a reactive, and a Mastercraft for the ICR. So I am absolutely with you in the fact that I'm not a huge fan of it being paid for, but I honestly thought it'd be way worse than this. So with this being introduced into the game now and then removed, maybe it's coming out in the next couple of days, maybe next week. We'll have to see here at that. But an interesting little fun fact to throw out there. As for Blackout, Alcatraz is now again live for all players. Xbox One and PC players get to jump into it, as we mentioned yesterday, and experience the mayhem firsthand. It's honestly a ton of fun. I definitely suggest it, though not to fully reiterate what we discussed last night, but it's definitely a different style of Blackout for sure. Much faster, much more COD-like, so be ready to jump in accordingly and get ready for engagements from almost every single angle. Interestingly enough, Duo was removed. I would imagine this is an accident because Treyarch already addressed this over on Reddit, saying that they were going to be putting it back in as of tomorrow morning. So as for the reasoning, the logic behind it, your guess is as good as mine. I'm going to say it was unintentional, but who knows? Then finally, Hot Pursuit also returns. It went away as of last week, but it is now back, and I kind of figured that would be the case because that's the bread and butter of Grand Heist for Blackout, because that's what they launched with the operation. If it goes away though when Operation 4 kicks in, not gonna lie, I'm gonna miss that quite a bit. Tons of fun to be had in that. And the final thing in terms of what actually changed was League play ranks and changes here at this one. There was a specialist adjustment to that in which the specialist weapon cooldowns now only fill up based on score, not time at all. And that's something that honestly I love for League play, but I wouldn't be too opposed if they even implemented that into regular MP. I think that would cut down on quite a lot of BS stuff within MP and specialists around that. But then the other thing changed was that skill divisions are now live as well. So when you place, you'll be placed into a skill division. You'll end up starting out in competitor, which is the bottom 50% of players. Then the next one up is advanced, that's the top 20%, expert is the top 15, elite is the top 13, oddly specific number there, and master division is now the top 2% of all players in League play. So get grounded if you guys are interested in ranked at all, but that's the stuff that rounds out the update as of today. One thing though to note is that if you checked into Blackjack's shop, if you checked into the Contraband stream and may have been hoping for a mini stream, there was nothing here that happened with that one. We mentioned this last night in the things to look out for, that honestly at this point, I wasn't getting my hopes up for it, but I had an interesting discussion with my friend Ink Slasher about this today, and I figured his theory is definitely worth sharing because it makes sense. that we won't get one today, but instead potentially next Tuesday because Easter is right around the corner. So maybe this is something that rounds out the operation, gets us ready for Operation 4 by giving us this new content in a sort of seasonal event. We've already seen that we had the Halloween event, we saw the Christmas event, we didn't get anything for Shamrock and Awe, which is another global holiday with St. Patrick's Day, but Easter is definitely one of those things that a lot of players around the world celebrate, so it could make sense in that regard. Plus, I mean, we've already seen a rabbit skin in the event tease on Firebreak, so who's to say it doesn't kind of follow that same similar theme. But regardless, that's something to keep in mind as well. But that's everything that I wanted to tell you guys about here today, everything that changed in today's update. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is there anything in particular you're happy with or displeased with, maybe looking forward to? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, MP, Blackout, Zombies. We got you covered the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys will strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. Well, that's it out of the way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.